Welcome. Dr. Mo here, digital nomad physician at digitalnomadphysician.com. All right, so today's video, I decided I recorded again here in Vista Alegre Park. It's Sunday, really beautiful, some fireworks, a soccer match in the background, and really peaceful, except for a little bit of wind. So, hope you guys can hear me okay. So I thought about how to talk about healthcare consulting, like how to make healthcare consulting sexy, because for a lot of people whom I talk to, let's say they're family medicine physicians or orthopedic surgeons or pulmonologists, the idea of becoming a healthcare consultant is like so abstract. Like, how do I become a healthcare consultant? You want me to go like get a degree? You want me to get an MBA? Do you want me to, work for some company for a long time and then do all this like boring type of stuff? And I think that's one way of looking at it. And there's a career path that you can pave out for yourself to become a healthcare consultant, like a more traditional way. But another way the way I enjoy it, the way I think it's more sustainable and more likely to succeed, is that while you're still doing what you're doing, maybe you're seeing patients on the side, maybe you're, working in a hospital, you're a hospitalist, whatever, you have your own private practice, you build something on the side. You sort of built this niche for yourself where you're an expert in this particular topic. If you're a rheumatologist, maybe you become an expert in lupus. If you are a pulmonologist, you become an expert in sleep studies, sleep apnea, whatever it might be, right? And the reason I think this can be really powerful is because over time, your expertise I think the camera angle was a little bad, but I hope this is better. I think over time your expertise is going to become sought after, especially as you accumulate more and more knowledge, more and more, you publish more content, you write about it, you consult with other people on it, you create certain products maybe in that regard, and we'll get into that a little bit. So let me just say, why is right now such a great time to get into healthcare consulting? And again, just from the approach of, I'm just going to learn a lot about this one thing. I'm going to learn a lot about analyzing baby poop, baby diapers. How can we get a lot of information from baby diaper analysis, like a smart baby diaper? And of course, all these things right now seem so like, it's not going to happen. Like, we're not going to get these smart toilets and things like that. But that is the reality. That is the direction that a lot of technology and innovation and investments is going. So I made a list here for myself. And I think from artificial intelligence to genetics to prediction algorithms of chronic diseases and decision-making matrices, right? For example, how can you help a orthopedic surgeon to make a better decision algorithm when it comes to a patient who comes in with knee pain? For example, they might decide to do an orthoscopic exploration. They might decide that this person actually needs meniscectomy, this person needs a joint injection. But to actually put that into an intelligent algorithm that spits out what the clinician should consider, maybe what they should consider first, what they should consider second, and then measure the result of that so that the physician then puts in the result of what happened to these patients in the long run and feed that back into the system. That's a very intelligent decision-making algorithm, and that's a game changer, right? That's a game changer in many regards. So I thought about this from different perspectives, because I think if you're a family medicine doctor, if you're a pediatrician, you may not be able to see how many different topics you could become an expert in. So I decided I'm just going to go through some of the most popular things that are out there right now. For example, body sensors, right? So intelligent clothing. If I wear this clothing and it can sense how much moisture there is on the inside, so how much I sweat, right? So that kind of intelligent clothing has been produced. For example, Siren socks, so, right? They have socks that actually measure all these different parameters in somebody with diabetes, and they can determine who maybe is at risk for certain types of diabetic foot ulcers or Charcot foot, and etc. I mean, who do you think designed that, right? So probably a technologist, probably somebody who is maybe already has some expertise in fabrics, but they probably need a clinician, a physician, somebody with some sort of an expertise. You can bring in researchers, you can bring in people who are only researchers. They're not doctors, or maybe they're doctors, but they don't do any clinical medicine, and they only do, as they say, like lab bench science, right? The problem is you will create a product that gives you a lot of data, but it's not going to have any value until you bring in a podiatrist, right? Somebody who is an expert in dealing with diabetic foot infections. You're not going to get a lot out of it. If you bring in a vascular surgeon, the vascular surgeon can tell you, like, hey, even if your siren sock like predicts or can look at the data from this patient and say that this person has this or that disease, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't make a difference, because this is not an interventional step, or there isn't anything we could do at this stage for this patient surgically or whatever. So again, that clinical aspect is really key and is really important. And even if you cannot think of a particular product yet, for example, let's say you are a podiatrist and you cannot think of a particular product, but there is a particular disease condition that you know of, you can become a master of that topic. You can talk a lot about Morton's neuroma. You can talk a lot about gout in the foot. You can approach it from every single perspective, like how can we predict it? Because technology might come along at some point, right? Or technology that already exists might be translated into that field. But if you're passionate about a certain topic, and I don't think I'm alone in this as a physician, like there are certain topics that I'm passionate about. So if I can just talk about those in every single aspect and then look at certain research studies that might translate technology into that space, then I can make the connection, or other people can make the connection, and they will hire me to be the expert in that regard. Now, of course, topics like gout, I think they are huge. They do end up costing healthcare a lot of money, but things like diabetic foot ulcers, numbness, diabetic, neuropathy, those kind of things are huge. I mean, those are like, you can approach those from so many different perspectives. We are far from solving that problem. So there's still a lot of room to talk about that. So there are body sensors. There are intelligent clothing. Body sensors could be something that you wear. For example, the continuous glucose monitors. I'm sure a lot of people didn't think that was going to be a thing, and obviously it became a thing. Contact lenses, things that you might put in your ear, glasses that are already on your face, watches that can measure a lot of different types of data. And again, it's not so much that you are trying to design that product. It's more so that you can think of all the different things that could be measured without very advanced technology or invasive technology, like what comes out of my breath, what goes into my nose, what comes out of my ear goes into my ear, poop that comes out. All of these are kind of body sensors. And those are maybe some of the chemicals that interact, certainly temperature, air movement over my body, or it could be movement, right? Just a movement. If I can wear intelligent clothing that can sense my movement, if there are cameras inside the house, for imagine an elderly parent, and we can see how the elderly parent is suddenly moving differently, moving slowly, or if there's a camera on my body, or if there's or my phone, and my phone can sense the way I move, I move differently. For somebody who's a body movement expert, or some of you guys who are neurologists, and you're gait experts, or you want to be gait experts, this is the thing. I mean, understanding gait, I think there's so much power in understanding gait. There's so much power in understanding voice. And I think voice comes in a little bit more when we talk about apps. But cameras, detecting movement, that's really powerful. Like I said, smart baby diapers, so everything that comes out from urine to blood to feces, like being able to capture all of that and make sense of that. And just not even make sense of it, just to be able to understand what are all the things that is in stool, right? Right now we're saying, obviously we're going a lot after bacteria, like the good bacteria, but there's probably other chemicals that we're not going after. And being the source of truth for that, having a platform where you can just talk about that, that is an investment in the future. The knowledge investment, the power of knowledge, the power of data, being able to capture that in one place, and then hoping that in the future you can sell that to someone in the form of consulting, in the form of I don't know what, partnership with somebody who comes up with the technology. I thought about the connected home. For example, different sensors that are inside the home that can check air quality airflow, mold level, moisture level. All of these things are things that are already there, and it's just a matter of time before they suddenly just blow up and they're like a standard. Like, no way that you would have a kettle that doesn't have this device, no way you would have a TV or refrigerator that doesn't have this other thing connected to it. It's a matter of time. It's not whether, it's just when, right? And it might not even be in our lifetimes, but I suspect that it will be. I think a lot of data can be extracted from just the toilet, the bathroom. Like when an elderly parent goes into a shower, how much time they spend in the shower, do they use their shower, right? Like, I mean, that's already a powerful piece. The data that already exists in somebody's home. How often does this person shower? Are their shower habits decreasing? Are there the number of times they flush, the number of times they brush their teeth, right? An intelligent toothbrush, the toothpaste, all of these things can be used as data. They are data. The thing is, right now we're not using them. And I can imagine how some of you guys think, like, that's bullshit, it's not going to work. Obviously, this YouTube video is not going to be for you. It makes sense, right? It's for the people who, I think, are recognizing that data is sort of the way the world is kind of moving forward, and data is becoming very powerful. And I think healthcare data could potentially improve healthcare outcomes. And I think we'll get into that actually in a little bit, whether those things could improve patient outcomes. So then I'll talk about apps. So for example, my phone that's in my front pocket, my phone that's in my back pocket, that is already a device that can capture a lot of information for us. Now, a lot of people are concerned about the privacy and security and safety of things. I could be wrong, but I think what's essentially going to happen is we are going to go to this route where everyone's just going to be okay with giving up all their personal privacy and protection and things like that. Now, I could be wrong, but I look at some of the younger generation that are up and coming. You know, they're the ones who are going to be the decision makers. They're the ones who are going to be 44-year-olds like myself, creating YouTube content. And I think they're much more comfortable giving up the freedom of data privacy. And I would say, even if that's not the case, there probably can be devices which are like disconnected smartphones, meaning they don't have an operating system built on them that can communicate with Google, that can communicate with Amazon, but that data is still captured in that phone. And I have no idea how that would look like. Maybe it's something that is attached to a cell phone. Maybe it is a watch that is worn. It could be some other device, something that goes around the neck, like a smart necklace, maybe the headphones. But all of this just to say that the listening, the movement, all of this is data. All of this is data, and all of this is how we should be thinking as physicians. Kind of the modern physician should be thinking that my voice analysis, like if I wake up in the morning, my voice is a certain way, what could that say about me? Like, what kind of day could I potentially have? Maybe it could be an indication of atherosclerosis, congestive heart failure, asthma. It could be an indication of early Alzheimer's, early dementia, right? We know that that kind of research already exists, where you can do some prediction algorithms to say that this kind of voice often indicates this, and then you feed that back into the system, and it performs quite well. And obviously, it's only going to get better as our technology improves and the data analytics improve. All right, so there was a cool app. I think it's called Deadline. I haven't checked it out, actually. I just read about it. And it's an app where you kind of enter the certain amount of information, and it predicts how long you're going to live. So why is that important? It's probably not important for somebody to be able to decide or determine how long they're going to live, but it might be something kind of the way we use maybe an investment calculator. I put in how much money I have and how much money I might put in every month. And based on a lot of different things, it's going to spit out what my future portfolio balance might be. And it's going to take into account calculations and stock market crashes, historical crashes. And that's really powerful. And of course, that is what a lot of the trading platforms are based on. Like, I don't know if most of you guys know this, but like the stock market is no longer run by human beings per se. It is run by very intelligent algorithms which digest the news. Based on the news, they will decide on certain trading algorithms, and they will perform those algorithms. And it's been proven time and time again, which is why so many companies invest so much money in these intelligent algorithm schemes, because just one little news can predict, the algorithm can predict that based on this news, these people are going to sell off the stock. So it is a great time to buy the stock at this piece because it's likely going to come up. And I think the same thing can be said about health and healthcare. The data that we have in health and healthcare can be so helpful in helping us predict what a patient's health might be in the future. And it is something that only us as physicians in the healthcare space can really make sense of and hopefully profit from. So those are the apps that I'll talk about. So switching it up a little bit, think of diseases. And for example, I may want to prevent skin wrinkling. I may want to delay dementia. I may want to prevent diabetes. I may want to delay or prevent osteoarthritis. If you just focus on these topics, which are big topics, back pain, depression, anxiety, insomnia, just writing about this, there is so much you could do. I mean, look at what was that, Dr. Walker? Who was that guy who talked about insomnia and he wrote that book? And the book's like, amazing. It's incredible. And it's like, of course, his war on caffeine is incredible, but certainly a lot of people are, drinking caffeine and doing just fine with their sleep. So the point is, the topic is really interesting. The topic can really take off. So writing or focusing on and creating data on and maybe researching it can make you that expert. And when you become that expert, that's when a lot of doors open up and a lot of different companies may want to work with you. So thinking about diagnoses is also a great way to start. The other thing in healthcare is customer satisfaction. How likely is somebody going to comply with the recommendations that you have? So I wrote here customer satisfaction, simply the archetype of different patients, being able to create the 5-6 different archetype of patients, the different types of patient-doctor relationships, maternal, paternal, whatever it might be, cooperative, but really taking that further, right? So if you're a psychiatrist, psychologist, this is the perfect space for you. I'm not going to talk about genetics and pharmaceuticals because like vaccinology, chemiceuticals, and genetics, I mean, those are like so much money is going to go into that over the next few decades. How much advances are we going to have? Probably not a lot, but a lot of money is going to go into that. Because of R&D and because of the taxes, you can write off a lot of R&D type stuff. And so obviously if you're a pharmacist and that's what you're interested in, go into that. If you're into genetics, if you're passionate about genetics, go into that. If you are, anyway, you get the point. Physician-patient pairing, but what makes a patient happy? So I think customer satisfaction is another piece. And I thought about customer satisfaction in the sense that the modern patient really goes to the doctor for, just to get the proper attention, to feel heard, that sort of stuff. So the customer satisfaction piece might even be more important than the eventual healthcare outcome that they might have. And this is a big piece that we might be missing. For example, a patient who goes to a doctor and is happy about the visit that might be the most important thing, as opposed to whether their actual heart disease or arthritis improves. We don't know that. Like if you asked me that question, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Logically, I would think that, well, isn't it most important that your health is better? No, because a lot of people don't have a definition of health. Defining success outcome measures, that's really what this is about. What should we be measuring? What success outcome should we be measuring? What is going to make the patient more likely to get back into the healthcare system and maintain their relationship with the doctor? And then this other piece, I think, is kind of this consumerization or marketing of health to patients. So for example, having medications shipped to your home immediately, having medications available in vending machines, home lab testing, home genetic testing, home skin swab testing. For example, right now, there's no reason why we can't have a simple swab, like put a tape on you, send that tape to somebody, to a lab and look for like a fungal infection. If you have a rash, you put a tape on it and you look for that. You look for atypical cells. So obviously there are companies right now where they can put a piece of film on on a mole or on a skin lesion, and send it to the lab, look at those cells that are picked up and determine if there is any kind of melanoma or atypical cells present. There's no reason why we can't do that. It's rare to see a car here, but that's cool. So why can't we kind of blow that up and make that much more accessible? What are the limitations? So if you're a dermatologist, if you're an internal medicine doctor, these are great topics to explore. Like being able to send a hair sample, being able to send a nasal swab, and being able to just get data back from just getting information. The consumer is probably going to be interested in that. So home lab testing, genetic predictions, talked about that already, we'll leave that alone. So if you go on Amazon store, right, what can you find? You can find those little cameras. Is there a bug on me? Get off. those little cameras you can put in the ear, put in the nose, get really close to the eye, put in the throat, and it gives you this gorgeous, these really good images. Why can't we have something like that? Just imagine kind of another step up, right? Like dermoscopes that are like really good quality, things that you can put inside the vagina to take a look at the cervix for people who want to do it. Cameras you can put inside the rectum. Obviously, they wouldn't have to go very deep, and whatever data you get from that. And of course, ultrasound, right? Like a lot of the handheld ultrasound, look, that's going to be a huge thing. Like if you don't think within a few years, everyone's going to have a home ultrasound device to be able to look at the heart and to be able to look at the lungs, you're wrong. It's going to be a thing. And being able to take that image and modify it into something real, that is so powerful. And knowing what is the customer going to want to see. If they put an ultrasound over here, what are they going to want to see? They're probably not going to want to see the ribs, right? They're going to want to see they want to have a window that they can click on. It's going to be the heart. And having an artificial algorithm that can take that ultrasound, granular echographic ultrasound image and turn it into an actual heart is not that complicated. If you look at 2-minute papers on YouTube, it's a beautiful it's a beautiful YouTube channel where they talk about all the different types of research that's already out there. For example, this tree behind me, I can take 3 photos of it, and then I can and then I could actually have this artificial thing fly through it, fly around it, fly up and out in every which direction, all from just 3 points of photo. And what that goes to show you is that we can take information that's already there, for example, the granularity of the heart, and turn it into an actual heart image, like a real photo, like a live video of the heart. And I think those are the barriers that we have to overcome. And as physicians, we know that, because what do the parents want to look at when you give them a baby ultrasound image? They don't want to look at that actual 2D image. They want that 3D image that everybody's so dead set on. So I think that's another powerful one, the home technology for ultrasound. I don't think CT images are going to be really powerful, but there is technology in the works for, it's not the CT version of it, it's something else, but that's also portable. That's like a portable unit that you can put your arm through, for example, that it can give you like a 3D scan of your arm. And it's not MR technology. I don't know about MR technology and how feasible it is for that to be, but maybe you could be the one to write about it, and then eventually when that technology gets small enough, boom, you're the go-to person for every single company to go to you, right? You write the book about it, you write the white paper on it, you are the main person everybody will consult for that technology. Last thing I'll talk about this video, I know you guys don't like the long videos, is research. Up until now, and of course for the next few years, the way research is done, you enroll a bunch of people, you go through the IRB, and you come up with a certain intervention, you come up with a certain hypothesis, you come up with a certain outcome measure, you do the double blind, you do the cohort analysis, and you come up with whatever answers. But with so much, that's because in order to get data the way you need it, you need to control all the different variables inside that atmosphere. Now, with healthcare data being shared everywhere with Fitbit and all these other devices, and what Google is really going into, and Apple Health or whatever it's called, there is a lot of data. There's already a lot of data sets, there's a lot of data, there's a lot of people, and all of this is basically the same thing as coming up with a cohort of patients that you're going to do an intervention on and no intervention on and have that other arm and come up with a hypothesis result. Instead, you could learn to design research studies based on data that's already coming in, and that is a very powerful tool. If you can be that, what do they call them, the head of research? The head of clinical research, that actually takes data that's already there, that people are already creating, and then coming up with really cool and clever, intelligent research designs. That is something that you could for sure leverage into a very powerful platform where you could help companies design research studies, especially tech companies that are already having the data. That is actually a thing that a lot of these tech companies are hiring, and they don't even know how to do it. They have no idea how to do it because they don't know. They don't know how to design the research. Most of us don't know how to design the research. They don't know how to interpret the research, what statistical analyses to use, and they don't know what the outcome measures should be. They don't know what the reality of the outcome is and how it translates to patients. So again, learning that and creating that can be absolutely powerful. Hope this is helpful. If you guys have any questions, if you want to work with me, if you have an idea, if you have a project and you need help need somebody to help you with it, I'm the guy. You can go to digitalnomadphysician.com, top right, click on consulting. I'll be happy to work with you. Take care.